Well, that was a shitty time to go on vacation. Last time we spoke, there was optimism, there was hope, and there was a chance that the Yankees could make history. Since the last time we spoke, there's a lot that went down, obviously. I was not a part of the despair conversation. I was not a part of the conversation about Judge's captaincy, how brutal this postseason was for it, with the cherry on top being the error that started off the worst inning in World Series history. But I still want to have this conversation. So I'm going to have this conversation in a different way. The Yankees in that fifth inning showed exactly what went wrong throughout the entire season. And that was certain areas of the field being allowed to have mediocrity. And that starts at the top. And by the top, I mean Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone. Hal Steinbrenner just kind of signs the paychecks. He can't really set the culture. The culture is set by the manager or the general manager, if you want to go that far. Aaron Boone at times this year had an opportunity to stop the bullshit when it started. All year we had lackadaisical base running. We are one of the worst base running teams in Major League Baseball. And you saw that in the World Series. That send by Luis Rojas, Teoscar Hernandez has the ball in his glove and Stanton is only touching third. That is allowing mediocrity in certain parts of baseball. And that fifth inning encapsulated all of that. After the Yankees came out game 4 and said, we're not done. Now we got our ace on the mound. Now we got to take control. And then Judge gets his signature moment, hitting a home run. Then Jazz goes back to back. And it's looking like, holy shit, this series is really about to flip on its head. But then we get to the fifth inning. And all year, when Aaron Boone had an opportunity to stop the mediocrity in certain parts of the field, when it started, he didn't. And because it didn't, everything divulged from Judge's dropped fly ball. This was a tough one for Aaron Judge, and this is going to be a very tough pill for him and the Yankees as a whole, as an organization, to swallow. Derek Jeter did not earn his captaincy till after the three-peat. Willie Randolph won, then he got his captaincy. Aaron Judge never really won anything, was awarded the captaincy to keep him in the Bronx. Now, after 15 years of not winning, you said, you know what? Set the culture now. This is a winning culture. Setting a captain in place could be the start of something. So you understood it at the time. The legitimacy of this captain comes down to winning World Series. Aaron Judge now has a bit of a scarlet letter on him in terms of that captaincy. Judge, for the most of the World Series, was a no-show. Did absolutely nothing to help this team win. You had certain guys who had terrible postseasons actually step up in the World Series. For example, Jazz. Jazz in game 1 was a Nestor Cortez decision away from leading this team to victory because he finally decided to step up. Austin Wells was still not great, but he had way better contact in this series. Anthony Volpe started off the World Series terribly. Then once it got back to the Bronx, he turned that ship all the way around and won us a game. These are the things we expect from Aaron Judge. And he almost had it, right? You almost had your moment to say that's why he's captain. That home run in the first inning was almost the stamp. A culture is set by your best player. And when your best player commits his first error in this moment, it divulges into an avalanche. And this culture was set early on in the season when Aaron Boone had times when Gleyber Torres would lackadaisically go after a fly ball and it drops. You had certain players not charging balls as well as possible. Multitude of simplistic errors. You could have squashed that at the start. The Yankees tried to change the culture a little bit. They said, third base looks awful, offensively and defensively. So we're going to get one of the best athletes that was available, and that's Jazz Chisholm. And we're going to throw him on third. Only problem is he's never played third in his professional career. That move worked. That position was solid for most of the playoff. He was basically a brick wall out there. Had a couple balls get by him, but overall was solid. But they didn't do anything internally to change the culture. We do not accept this type of defense. We do not accept this brand of baseball here in New York. That's when your captain makes a mistake and everything unravels. Anthony Volpe, he rushes a throw to third. Now there's bases loaded. And then Garrett Cole doesn't think to cover first. I can't really blame Anthony Rizzo there. And I know that's going to shock a lot of you because you're like, oh, it was a slow ground ball. If you watch the spin of that ball started off on one plane and then moved to another. If he charges that ball, he'll look even more stupid than he did because he would have missed it completely. That is on Garrett Cole to be the ace of this staff and no, I gotta get the fuck to first. That was Garrett Cole's fault. And once that inning unravels, everyone in the Yankees dugout basically said, oh, this again. And there didn't seem to be any fight, even though the game was only tied at that point. Yeah, we gave up a 5-run inning in the worst inning in World Series history. But the Yankees could have moved past it. Giancarlo Stanton hits a sac fly. We have a fucking lead. Nowhere in that did the Yankees show that they had confidence they could win that game. And it's because that culture was set in the beginning of the season. Now there's going to be a few changes in this offseason. Gleyber Torres, gone. Anthony Rizzo, gone. There's a lot of guys that will not be in pinstripes that we are very used to. And we can talk all we want about Juan Soto. That is a must sign. But outside of Soto, if we have Soto in pinstripes, the next important position is first base. Because although Anthony Rizzo's defense was good, right? Beginning of the year, he's still there, and we're complaining about Anthony Rizzo. But then once Ben Rice steps in, and he's not picking the ball the way Anthony Rizzo did, you're saying to yourself, damn, we need Anthony Rizzo. Well, there's a guy on the market that could really shift the culture of this defense as a whole. And his name is Christian Walker. Christian Walker is probably the best defensive first baseman on the market. In a position where we desperately need production, he provides a ton of power, having an over 110 WRC plus. This guy is the perfect mold to bring into pinstripes as a lefty bat that hits for power and will also shift a culture of defense. With Gleyber Torres gone, a lot of people are looking at the Arizona Fall League and seeing Caleb Durbin playing out of his mind. And he very well could get the call and play second base, and they could really shaft Oswald Peraza one more time. Either way, no matter who plays those positions, there is two things that have to happen. They have to be semi-productive with the bat, which so far Durbin looks like he's producing at a certain level. We'll have to see how it translates. The Arizona Fall League usually tends more to offensively than defensively. So we'll see how that translates to spring training and regular season, but they have to be solid defensively. This offense is dangerous, and we saw this throughout the postseason. As long as we keep Juan Soto, this offense is nasty. You're going to have a consistent at-bat with Juan Soto. In the regular season, at least, you're going to have one of the best power hitters we've ever seen in Aaron Judge. Now with Jazz, you're having another guy who's in the 110 to 120 WRC plus area. He's a consistent offensive force. If you see a leap because of the postseason for Anthony Volpe, that's another big plus. You're going to need these guys like Dominguez, who came in and shit the bed defensively. That's the only reason he didn't get any playing time in this postseason, was because during the regular season, he got an opportunity. He didn't take advantage defensively. There needs to be an identity that this team does not allow these types of mistakes. And you know, when I said earlier that it starts with the general manager and the manager, you know where it really starts? It starts in A-ball, and then AA, and then AAA. This needs to be drilled into their fucking skulls before they get into this locker room. This is the Yankees organization. We don't accept this type of baseball. And I'm hoping that guys like Durbin, that guys like maybe Roderick Arias, guys like Chase Hampton, especially with the PFPs, that this is starting to get drilled into their skulls starting this year. Because obviously, it was not drilled into their skulls going into this year. Now, to bring it all back, a great way to start setting a culture is by investing in guys who can help that culture build. And a guy like Christian Walker is the perfect option to help that culture build with other guys. Guys like Soto, who's not really great defensively, but maybe if he bought in a little bit more on that end, he'd be a little bit better, fundamentally at least. Maybe if he can't get to some of these balls, play them better than the way he did at certain points. If you know you're not going to get there, at least get behind it and try and keep the runner from getting an extra base. Certain things like that. Fundamentally, even if we're not looking like we're gold glovers at every position, if there is a buy-in that we play the game the way we're supposed to on that defensive end, then this team could go out and make it to back-to-back World Series. This team can beat this Dodgers team. And we showed it. After Game 5, we should have been up 3-2. We should have won Game 1, and we should have won Game 5. With the win in Game 4, we're up 3-2, and we're going back to Los Angeles to win this shit. The Yankees have an opportunity to build something that we haven't had since even the 90s. And that is a consistent World Series contender. Over the past 15 years, this culture has still built something worth talking about. And that is, except for 2 years, we have had an opportunity to make it. You are guaranteed an opportunity to get into the crapshoot. We have an opportunity now to make it so that this isn't really a crapshoot, that the Yankees are coming out of the AL no matter what. It starts with cleaning up our act. And the defensive side of the baseball is a perfect example of how that act needs to be cleaned up. Christian Walker is the perfect option to set that culture, and hopefully the culture will be set moving forward. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. New here, hit that sub button. I'll be back with even more content about this offseason, talking about Juan Soto, talking about other ways this Yankees team can build off of this World Series run. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.